The story begins with a guy crying his eyes out over the phone. The scene cuts to reveal the reason for his tears. His girlfriend is breaking up with him via text message. Heartbroken, he tries to win her back by spamming her with text messages. But this only leads to her blocking his number. In the midst of his despair, one of his roommates interrupts him, telling him to stop crying and join them in a game since they need one more player. Enraged by this, our protagonist hits his desk, knocking over his cup noodles, and leaves the dorm room in a huff. His roommates, used to this behavior, realize that he has gone through another breakup. Apparently, this is the 6th time this month. He's been chasing this girl for 3 years and has gained the infamous nickname, Licking Dog, from his schoolmates. In a desperate attempt to reconcile, he buys her favorite dish, while onlookers make snide remarks about how he worked 4 part-time jobs just to afford it. The girl tells him that her ex-boyfriend has come back to reconcile, and she has decided to give him another chance. As he tries to plead his case, a loud car screeches to a halt behind him. Chan-yeon confronts her, saying, "Didn't that same ex cheat on you on purpose?" But she doesn't care and gets into the car with her ex, telling our protagonist not to meet again as her boyfriend might misunderstand. They leave, and our protagonist is left to sulk in regret. Angry and resentful, he promises himself that he will never be a licking dog again. Instead, he vows to become a sea king, which basically means he wants to become a player. He is then interrupted from his thoughts by a floating panel in front of him, indicating that the system has found its match and will now begin synchronizing. Startled, he doesn't realize that he has accidentally groped a random woman named Su Lele. The system scans her and reveals that she has a -50 points of attraction towards him. The system explains that if a girl's affection level towards him exceeds 95 points, she will become his personal licking dog. The system also reveals that it has 9 trillion yuan in Chinese currency that the protagonist can only use on women. Once a woman's affection level reaches 95 points, 1/10 of the amount he spent on her will be deposited into his personal account. The protagonist decides to test the system with the beauty in front of him named Su Lele. He tells her not to be angry and offers to buy whatever she wants to make up for his mistake. This triggers a mission from the system, promising 5 enhancement points that can improve his physical attributes. Su Lele takes him up on the offer, and bystanders gossip about her being someone who exploits men for their money. Undeterred, the protagonist tells her to bring it on. She asks him to buy snacks for everyone in the store. She internally criticizes his appearance, thinking he's all talk, but is silenced when he transfers 50K in Chinese yuan to her account effortlessly. Everyone around is shocked, and the protagonist asks for Su Lele's WeChat, which is like asking for a girl's number in this verse. Startled, she wonders if he comes from a wealthy family. With a scheming smile, she tells him not to rush, as the night is still young. She takes him to a luxury mall, stating she only wants to see his sincerity. With a confident smile, he tells her to lead the way. They enter a store that sells luxury purses and bags. While browsing, the protagonist hears a familiar voice and turns to see his ex is also in the store. Su Lele picks up on this and asks if that was his ex and if they came to the store at a bad time. Chen-yeon says, "No, we came at the perfect time," with a scheming expression. Su Lele asks a store clerk if they have the spring bag collection in store. The clerk replies that they do, but it's the last one left and the ex-girlfriend is currently trying it on. The ex-girlfriend, overhearing this, asks her boyfriend to buy her the bag as a birthday gift. The boyfriend, uninterested, asks her if they didn't already celebrate her birthday. She tries playing it off, saying that was her lunar birthday and they have to celebrate her solar birthday as well. Not falling for it, the boyfriend tells her he doesn't like girls who are too materialistic and asks if she only got back together with him because of his money. The ex, with a dejected look, has nothing to say and stays quiet. Using the opportunity, Su Lele swipes the bag away and taunts the ex-girlfriend, saying that if she won't buy the bag, then she will. Chen-yeon proceeds to swipe his card, and the transaction goes through, causing Su Lele's affection for him to go up by 40 points. With a joyful smile, our protagonist is amazed by the power of money and realizes that at this rate he might achieve the 95-point threshold for the cashback to come in. But he also notices that the amount he spent is too little for him to receive a big enough cashback. During this, the ex-girlfriend stands in the middle of the store, being criticized by the onlookers about her boyfriend not getting her the bag she wanted. Su Lele notices this and remarks, "Bags are like boyfriends. The ones that are snatched are the best to use." She looks toward our protagonist, thinking of him as some big shot. She then grabs one of his arms, squeezing her chest against him, and thanks him for the bag. The ex-girlfriend, seeing this, is heartbroken and leaves the store in tears. With a victorious gleam in his eye, our protagonist thinks to himself that this is only the beginning and that his revenge will come soon. While leaving, the system binds the ex-girlfriend as another target for the dog-licking system and shows he's currently at -10 affection points with her. Su Lele then asks our protagonist if he was satisfied with her little performance earlier and if they should go somewhere else. Chenyon asks if she would like to continue shopping, saying there's no way she is satisfied with just one little bag. He then points to the other end of the store, saying that except for cheaper items, they should pack up everything in the store and he will pay for it. He takes out his credit card that the system gave him, which has 9 trillion Chinese yuan, and pays for everything. This causes Su Lele's affection for him to go up another 5 points. They then proceed to go to other fancy stores to buy more clothes, makeup, and perfumes, bringing Su Lele's affection up another 10 points. Getting worried that she won't have enough space in her closet, she tells our protagonist, thinking this would be the end, but shockingly, our protagonist nonchalantly suggests he buy her a new house to fit everything in if that's the case. Hearing this creeps her out a little since it's their first time meeting each other, yet he's suggesting buying her a brand new house. This causes our protagonist to lose 5 affection points. Taking this as a warning, our protagonist wonders if he scared her. Thinking about it now, he realizes he would have felt the same if roles were reversed. He then gets closer to her and tells her what he found out about her from his system, like her age, height, favorite color, etc., which causes her to blush, seeing he knows so much about her. He finishes up saying if he didn't really like her, why would he be buying her all this stuff? He calls up a store clerk and asks if they have any membership cards. If so, he would like to purchase one and add 500,000 to it so that when the beauty comes into the store, she can have whatever she wants. He then finishes it off by saying as an apology for scaring her, let him give her that card as a gift to make up for it. Taken aback by everything that just happened, Su Lele can only stare with a blush on her face. With a slight remark, our protagonist makes a joke if she's feeling guilty about it. Then she could always just offer up her body. Su Lele, in a playful manner, just pushes him away, calling him a scoundrel, but secretly she enjoyed it. And as confirmation, we see that Su Lele's affection points had risen by 30 points. Even the female store clerks fell for how charming our protagonist was, which makes him feel good about himself. Su Lele then asks our protagonist, after buying so many things or her, if he does not want to buy anything for himself as well. Being honest, our protagonist straight up tells her that he's broke and doesn't have any money. Thinking he's just trying to make a joke, Su Lele offers to buy him a gift as thanks for what he's done for her. She then brings him to a men's clothing store and picks out some clothes for him, as well as taking him to the barbershop to get his hair done. After all this is done, we now get a good look at our protagonist all cleaned up and looking proper, no longer like some hobo. This causes Su Lele's affection to rise by another 15 points as she notices that our protagonist is very handsome. Feeling a little embarrassed by all the attention, our protagonist thinks back, noticing he never really bothered to look after himself like this before. With that, the date with Su Lele comes to an end, and she now has a total of 68 affection points toward him. Returning to the dorms, our protagonist feels and looks nice, catching his roommates by surprise because when he left, he looked a mess, and now he comes back looking handsome. Chenyon tries to play off the fact that he went on a date with one of their university's top beauties. His roommates look at him in disbelief, not believing what he said. One of his roommates even tries to give some advice, but it falls on deaf ears as our protagonist can't seem to take him seriously. All of a sudden, our protagonist gets a random text from his ex-girlfriend saying that if he dislikes her, then why doesn't he just unfriend her on WeChat? Wanting to get proper revenge, our protagonist denies disliking her and strings her along. She tries to play along by asking for 5K for some medical expenses, which he sends in less than a second. This causes the ex-girlfriend to scream in surprise, taken aback by being sent so much money out of nowhere. Her roommate asks her who sent it and if it was the douchebag boyfriend who sent so much money. The ex-girlfriend denies it, saying that it was actually the protagonist who sent it. Her roommate asks, "Didn't she break up with him today?" This causes the ex-girlfriend to rethink her decision and realize that she might have misjudged our protagonist. Doing this causes our protagonist to gain 5 affection points. She tries to question him some more, but our protagonist doesn't reply, causing the ex-girlfriend to feel dejected. Chen Yan, thinking 3 steps ahead, already knew what she wanted and wouldn't play her game. Chen Yan realizes that if he really wants to take advantage of the system, he needs to spend more money on women. He goes on his phone to see if there's anything that could help. He downloads a live streaming app on his phone and opens it. There, he finds a beautiful female streamer who is currently live. A random fan sends her a rocket gift, which costs 1,000 Chinese yuan. Chen Yun smiles with joy, thinking he's found a way to spend large amounts of money on women. So he searches for the most expensive gift he can donate to her. This catches the female live streamer off guard, as someone just donated the most expensive gift over 100 times in one go. This shocks everyone watching the live stream and the female live streamer because someone just donated 1 million Chinese yuan. One of the female live streamer's top donors decides to troll our protagonist, claiming that he's still her biggest supporter. Not taking that lying down, our protagonist decides to send the most expensive gift again to the female live streamer. But this time, instead of a measly 100 times, he decides to send it 900 times, rounding everything up to a nice 1,000 gifts. All in all, it tallies up to 10 million Chinese yuan. This causes such a scene at the live streaming app headquarters that a secretary barges into the CEO's office to explain the situation, causing him to spit out his drink. At first, the CEO questions the secretary, asking if it was one of their guys trying to launder money through the app. Other female streamers gossip about who this rich daddy that just appeared out of nowhere is. People then start to fill up our protagonist's inbox with private messages to grab his attention. All the while, the female streamer is still awestruck at what just happened and pinches her cheeks to make sure this wasn't a dream. Luckily, she has a team with her that helps her get back on track. Her team tells her to try to snatch up this mysterious big spender. If she's successful, she will get a 10% commission increase. Enticed by this attractive offer, she tries to act as appealing as possible. But sadly, our protagonist has already fallen asleep before anything could happen. The next day, everyone is woken up by one of the roommates gossiping about what happened last night, as it was all over the internet and everyone was talking about the mysterious live stream big spender. While getting ready for the day, our protagonist realizes that the people he has bound to the dog-licking system are still the same, his ex and Su Lele. He opens the live streaming app that he was on last night to see his inbox flooded with messages, mostly from gold diggers and degenerates. While sorting through his phone, our protagonist hears his roommates chatting excitedly about hurrying up so as not to be late somewhere. He asks them what's got them in such a hurry. They tell him that in today's class, one of the school's top beauties, Zhao Yuqi, will be there, so they want to find good seats to sit in before it's too late. We come to see that Zhao Yuqi is a stunning beauty who's the vice president of the student council, is musically talented with the piano, an amazing ballerina, and a great fencer, and is the dream girl of most of the guys on campus. With a devious smile, our protagonist plots how much cash back he could get with a girl like her using the dog-licking system cheats. Chen Yun fails to realize how handsome he actually is as he's starting to garner a lot of attention in class. Even his ex's roommate is shocked to see our boys glow up. This causes our protagonist to gain plus 30 affection points from the thirsty ex. This catches our protagonist's attention as he thinks that all it took was just a change of clothes and a haircut to have them giving him the hard eyes. While checking out his system more, his attention is grabbed by a group of guys cheering and hyping up their leader to go talk with the beauty Zhao Yuqi. He then tries to approach her with the utmost confidence and boldly asks her for her WeChat. Beauty Zhao's friend tries to intervene, but this guy is too deep in the zone to care about her. He then attempts to approach her more to get all seductive in her ear, but that is all stopped by Beauty Zhao's friend who grabs Mr. Group Leader's collar, brings him towards her, and threatens him with a pencil to the eye if he doesn't leave, with a very menacing face too. Mr. Group Leader tries to play it cool, stating that this is all a misunderstanding. But this falls on deaf ears as she still stabs him. Not with the pencil but with her words, calling him a toad trying to eat swan meat and other insults. This causes Mr. Group Leader to run away in tears. Undeterred by what just happened, our protagonist steps up to the plate to try to bag this beauty. He calls out to her, addressing her as classmate Zhao, and asks for her WeChat. Turning around to see who was daring enough to try again after what just happened, they see it's our protagonist with his phone out, ready to grab her WeChat. Beauty Zhao's friend compliments our protagonist on his looks, calling him handsome and offering him a place on the student council. Our protagonist declines the offer. Then Beauty Zhao's roommate asks him for what other reason he could have for asking for Zhao Yuqi's WeChat. Chen Yan then replies, saying, "Isn't it obvious? I'm trying to pursue her." Beauty Zhao, along with everyone else, is caught off guard by Chen Yan's bold statement. Some of the onlookers even criticize him for being so bold as to openly state his intentions with her like that. This makes Beauty Zhao smile as she agrees to give him her WeChat. Thirsty X's roommate is confused by this, as she thought Chen Yan was pursuing the Thirsty X. This causes the Thirsty X to get jealous. Chen Yan feels confident now that Beauty Zhao agreed to give him her WeChat, breaking the hearts of many men. This also binds her to the dog-licking system. Our protagonist celebrates the new gain, feeling like this trip to class was all worth it. Once classes are done, we see our protagonist together with his roommates as they congratulate him on successfully getting Beauty Zhao's WeChat. Chen Yan tries to play it off and be humble about it, but they are stopped by the guy from before who failed to get Beauty Zhao's WeChat. Mr. Group Leader tries playing tough, trying to scare Chen Yan and his friends, but Chen Yan doesn't seem fazed at all by him. This makes Mr. Group Leader mad, yelling and pointing at our protagonist, but this all falls on deaf ears. Then out of nowhere comes Su Lele, who claims that she was waiting for our protagonist to show up for a while now. This shocks every guy there, as apparently Su Lele is ranked 6th on the campus beauty list. This shocks everyone around, but our protagonist, being a flirt, says that for him to make a beautiful girl like her wait for him, he should die. But at least let him make up for it by taking her to dinner. She plays hard to get at first, then asks our protagonist how the clothes he bought her look on her. Little did they know that the ex-girlfriend was standing in the crowd, watching this all take place. Mr. Group Leader, with tears in his eyes, wonders to himself what it is that he's missing. But before he can finish, he's interrupted by someone shouting the same thing he said, but it sounded more feminine. He turns around to see that our protagonist's ex-girlfriend was the one crying over our protagonist, screaming with eyes filled with tears. "I don't understand, what am I lacking?" The scene then cuts, and we see Su Lele showing our protagonist a portrait she drew of him, saying he better not casually throw it away. Chen Yan is shocked by this since this is the first time he's received a gift from a girl. Su Lele, with a pretty smile, asks him if he likes it. But our protagonist realizes that this might all just be bait, that she's prepared to trap our protagonist since he first spent money on her. Unfortunately, this won't work on our protagonist as he's no longer a simp like he used to be. Since his expression has been neutral all this time, Su Lele wonders if he didn't like the portrait she drew for him. Out of the blue, our protagonist asks her why she is doing this. Caught off guard, Su Lele stumbles with her words a little, but she manages to dodge the question by asking if he doesn't like the drawing. Chen Yan decides to be bold and approaches her closely, with his response being that if he receives a gift this good now, then what should he expect in the future? They continue to flirt with each other, with Su Lele trying to grab back the portrait she made and our protagonist playing along by making her reach for it. While she reaches for the portrait, our protagonist grabs her wrist and pulls her closer towards him. He then flirts with her more, saying that compared to the gift she gave him, he would have preferred her more. This causes Su Lele to blush even more at his attempts at flirting with her, which gives our protagonist an extra 5 affection points. Little did Su Lele know this was what the protagonist wanted in order to take advantage of his dog-licking system. Someone then screams out Su Lele's name and cuts in between her and the protagonist. We come to find out that this guy is Su Lele's licking dog, or in American terms, he's her simp, and he's furious to see her here flirting with another guy after she told him that she was going out to do her nails with her friends. The simp starts to question her actions, feeling hurt after how long he's been pursuing her, only to see her here with some handsome, rich-looking dude. Seeing all of this unfold, our protagonist steps in and tries to de-escalate the situation. He introduces himself and asks the simp for his name and how long he has been simping over this chick. He says his name is Wang Yu from the school's art department and that he has been pursuing Su Lei for half a year now. This makes our protagonist feel like he's Wang Yu's senior because he pursued a girl for 3 years. He tells Wang Yu about his past and how he used to be a simp for 3 years to a girl he liked back then, only for her to get into the car of another guy in front of him. He tells Wang Yu to stop simping over these girls, to focus on himself, become successful, and make the girl who treated him wrong regret it once she sees how much he's grown. Su Lei tries to join the conversation by saying that Wang Yu is only a friend, but our protagonist cuts her off and says he doesn't care about her past, but he feels like she doesn't have any respect for him or herself. He then proceeds to rip the portrait she made right in front of her face. He tells her that she can keep the store card he got her last night, but until she solves her relationship problems, they shouldn't meet. Then he walks away from her. We come to find out that this was only an act that our protagonist played to see if she would fall for him even harder. Su Lei is heartbroken, thinking that she's finally met a decent guy, only for her to mess it all up. This causes our protagonist to gain an extra 5 affection points again. We come to see our protagonist walking around the school campus, thinking about how he's now got Su Lei in the bag and now it's time to move on to Beauty Zhao. He opens up his phone and sees that she's currently live streaming. She introduces herself as a new streamer, mentioning that her content will mostly center around her playing the piano. Chun Yuan finds himself checking out her stream but is displeased to see her lack of popularity. He then gets a text notification from the streamer girl he donated over 10 million yuan to last time. They go back and forth through messages, and Chun tries to set up a meeting, but she declines, saying her schedule is backed up at the moment. However, she offers to dance for him on her stream. This enrages our protagonist because he knows she's only trying to get him to send her more money. He decides that instead of spending money on her, he would rather do it on Beauty Zhao. He then gets a notification that Beauty Zhao and the female streamer will be having a streaming battle versus each other. Chan Yuan is excited by this spectacle and comes up with a plan to show the thirsty streamer girl who he really sides with, as she's feeling very confident, thinking our protagonist is going to support her. The streamer girl, already a veteran compared to Beauty Zhao, starts the match off with an overwhelming advantage in donations from her fans. The streamer girl taunts Beauty Zhao, telling her that she has no chance with our protagonist on her side. Her fans also think this will be an easy match. The streamer, remembering her conversation with Chan Yuan, can't even hide her excitement, thinking about how much she will make when Chan Yuan starts donating. Then Chun Yuan makes his move and gifts a rocket. The streamer girl sees the rocket gift pop up on the screen. While trying to thank Chun Yuan for the donation, she stops midway because it wasn't her but Beauty Zhao who got the donation. Then Chun Yuan begins to spam Beauty Zhao with rockets so much that you can no longer see Beauty Zhao, only the rockets. All in all, he sends her 1,000 rockets, which is equivalent to 10 million Chinese yuan. Beauty Zhao and her roommate are both shocked by this instant gain of wealth from a supposedly random fan. The streamer grits her teeth in jealousy and anger, seeing that some newbie streamer just stole her top donor. Her team notifies her that the boss is calling for her to give him an explanation. The streamer girl, after hearing this, decides to not break character and manages to end her stream. This makes Chan Yuan happy, seeing how he was able to show the streamer girl that he's not one to be played with like the other simps in her livestream. With an evil glee in his eyes, he goes to Beauty Zhao, hoping she doesn't let him down after all the money he's spent on her now. The scene cuts to the live streaming headquarters, which is in disarray. One of the employees barges into the boss's office, telling him about what happened earlier. The boss is taken aback by the news of the same guy donating another 10 million and starts wondering about our protagonist's background. Other female streamers also hear the news and are shocked. They start to wonder if our protagonist is into music today, so they begin looking for instruments that they can play to try and gain his attention. We now go to the female dormitory, where we see Beauty Zhao's roommate screaming that they're now rich and how Beauty Zhao is going to become an internet sensation after this. Beauty Zhao scoffs at the idea of being an internet sensation, saying that relying on men online is not a long-term plan, and that the most important thing for a woman is having a career and being independent both economically and personally. Her roommate, with no rebuttal, just agrees for argument's sake and changes the subject, asking if Beauty Zhao knows who this rich guy is that's showering her with so many gifts. She denies this, saying that she doesn't know who he is. But to show her appreciation, she will send him a private message. The roommate ponders whether Beauty Zhao truly doesn't know this person or not. But she's then cut off by a loud scream. The roommate asks her what's wrong, and Beauty Zhao tells her that she might actually know who this mysterious rich man might be. In the private messages, it shows that the same user tag of the guy who sent her so much money is displayed under Chen Yuan's name. Then we come across the story of some son from a super-rich family who doesn't like to flaunt his wealth, deciding to go and live life like an ordinary person. Growing tired of people always looking up to him, he leaves the high life and goes off to live like an ordinary person. He then meets this beautiful girl and falls in love with her at first sight. We come to find out that this is a made-up story that Beauty Zhao came up with as her way of trying to understand what's going on. Her roommate asks her if she's been reading too many CEO novels lately, but Beauty Zhao is already too far in the deep end of her imagination to care for the slight jab. The roommate tells her that it's time for bed, but she persists, claiming that she must sincerely thank him. The scene cuts to Chen Yuan, who looks like he just came out of the shower. He sees that he got a text notification from Beauty Zhao, who will now be referred to as Zhao Yuqi. She asks him if he's free for the next 2 days. Fast forward, they set up a dinner date to meet the next day at 4. Chen Yuan sees that she didn't even ask him about where his money came from. The next day, we see Chen Yuan riding on a moped in a cheerful mood. He stops by a guy who's standing next to a nice-looking Audi. The smug guy asks Chen Yuan if he's waiting for someone. Chen Yuan asks him back if he's also here waiting for someone. The smug guy tells Chen Yuan that he's waiting for his goddaughter. We then see Zhao Yuqi, who appears to be looking for someone. Chen Yuan is about to call out to her but is interrupted by the smug guy, who begins to look down on Chen Yuan, saying that he shouldn't even bother with a girl like her. He suggests that Chen Yuan should work hard to make more money to get a girl like Zhao Yuqi, or else uncles like him will just snatch them up. This starts to get on Chen Yuan's nerves, but before he can do anything, Zhao Yuqi notices him. What she sees is Chen Yuan in an all-white tuxedo, looking like he just got done with a fight and came to get her. Truly, this woman is very delusional, but what can we say in a world where a guy has a system that gives him endless money to spend on women? She begins running towards our protagonist with heart-filled eyes. The smug uncle starts to feel cocky, thinking she's running towards him. He lights a cigar and starts to boast about his car to Chen Yuan. But both Chen Yuan and Zhao Yuqi ignore him as she gets onto Chen Yuan's beat-up moped, and they ride away without a care in the world. The smug uncle, seeing this, is dumbfounded and begins to question his life choices. And that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this manhwa recap, then please feel free to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Also feel free to write down your opinions about the video down in the comments section below. Well then, I'll see you guys in another video.